All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Intoxicated Sports Report. He is Gates Emoji.
Yeah,
I'm
baby.
Emerson Hip.
No.
No.
Okay.
We're back
We're back.
on a beautiful Wednesday. Back-to-back weeks.
Just going to say, back-to-back weeks.
It's been a while since we've done this, but
Kind of out of necessity.
yep, gonna have some potential plans in the coming weeks that might keep us from doing this. So
Which you're allowed to have.
yes,
I'm happy for you. If those things actually go through,
Yeah.
just you could be going to Giants games.
yeah,
Which, hey, good time.
yeah.
Haven't been to a game yet. How's it been out there? How's the yard?
It's nice. Only been to a night game, which I like day games more. I like doing either.
Okay.
But I'm more of a day game guy, so you have to do one of those. But that's next on the list.
It's a good question. Do I prefer day or night games? I think day games, it's more of just like, you probably hype yourself up a little more. Like, oh, we're spending the whole day not watching a game, but like making a day out of it.
Right,
You know, like in theory, you could work half the day and then go to a night game.
right.
But I probably enjoy baseball being played in the sunshine.
Yeah,
But I also like going to a Giants game and being kind of bundled up. Maybe it's a little bit cold, not too cold.
yeah. The way I look at it is like I think baseball during the daytime is more authentic. That's like how it always was for a long time.
That's fair.
And then also, like you said, going to a baseball game during the day, you kind of make a day out of it. We tend to take the ferry,
Yeah.
and that tends to be a 6-7 hour
Yeah.
extravaganza.
Well, yeah.
For a night game, even if you do take the ferry, it's more about just going to the ball game, watching the game, going home.
It's more business.
Yeah,
And in night games, it can be a long night.
right,
You know what I mean? I mean, I guess now games don't really go into extras that deep like they could.
right.
But you get home late, you're tired. Hopefully, it's like a weekend night for you, so you
Yeah.
don't worry about getting up early.
Right.
So I might have to agree with you on that. But I've been to plenty of night games. in my
Yeah.
life. I've probably been to more night games than I have day games.
Oh,
If I
really?
take a guess.
Okay.
If I had to take a guess,
I would, if I had to guess on my end, it's either split or I would lean a little more towards more day games than night games. To be honest. Yeah.
I feel like kind of growing up or like in my mid-teens, late teens, I feel like I kind of went to a little more night games.
Yeah.
But it could be split too.
Yeah.
So I know you, now usually when we go, we
It'd be like a Sunday day game.
day game.
Yeah. Yep. We are celebrating Cinco de Siete today with some tequila cocktails.
They're delicious.
I don't know if you want to take a tequila shot with me later on to.
I was gonna take one later on, anyways, but maybe it was gonna be towards the end of the show.
That's fine. Yeah.
Do you want to
I'll take one with you eventually.
You want to take one right now too?
Not really.
Okay, cool. We'll do it later on.
Yeah. We have Thunder and Nuggets playing right now. We can't seem to get the internet to work, so streaming the game is not an option at the moment. But I know it was 45-21 Thunder after the first quarter, and you got 49-26 as of right now.
10:45 left in the second. Yes, 49-26.
Big start for the Thunder that they really needed after dropping game one, which we'll get into later.
Yes,
But yeah. A lot of interesting things going on in the NBA playoffs.
we were just talking about doing
Yeah.
our contender rankings, and mine's gonna look like a joke.
Yeah.
I was just telling him that it almost would have been better if we didn't do this podcast this week because it'd make more sense
Yeah.
doing it in like 2 weeks from now.
Right.
But not the case.
Thus,
So
we're
we have
here.
to roll with what we have.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not even sure. Once we get there, it's going to be funny. But I'm not even sure if I feel good about my list, for one.
I don't
or if
know.
I even think that the teams I have up at the top right now are actually the top contenders.
Well, that's the thing is like if you're up 2 on your series, like the Knicks and the Pacers are,
Right.
they have to be contenders.
Right. But they were the underdogs going in, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were, not one of them. Pacers weren't on my list. Knicks were low on my list.
Yeah.
And now it's not completely switched, but
Yeah.
they're definitely higher than they were last week.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be... that's made the playoffs that much more interesting all on its own to get going. But yeah. You ready to dive into the news?
Go for it.
All right. Did you watch the Kentucky Derby?
I did not. Do you? I mean, I can't say I've really ever sought out to watch the Kentucky Derby. I mean, last year a Knicks thing was like the only time I probably ever really watched it like live.
Yeah.
I don't really ever watch it.
Is it like specifically the Kentucky Derby? Is it the most like overrated sports event in the United States? We'll just say the United States.
Yeah.
Or at least one of them.
I would throw Army Navy up there.
I'm with you on that.
I mean, I know
100% with you.
I know it's our nation's
Yeah.
guys who fight for our country.
What do they call it? Is that one
America's Game?
America's Game, yeah.
Which I would agree with.
Yeah.
But I mean, Army Navy to me is just
It's always an ugly game.
Way overblown.
Yeah.
But
at least
that sounds incredibly disrespectful.
Yeah, at least it's football. This is horses. Like, it's almost, inhumane.
Like, what does PETA think of the Kentucky Derby?
They probably don't love it.
Or horse racing. They can't, right?
No.
I mean, I wouldn't disagree with you. The only thing I could think of, like I just said, was Army Navy.
Yeah. My thinking is that in probably the next 20 or so years, the Kentucky Derby is going to be not, nothing, but it's going to be so much less of an event than it used to be. I feel like it's going to become very regional, because I just like watching horse racing on TV, or like seriously, like we had a good time when we went to the horse races, whatever, how many over years?
Yeah, that was
ago
good time.
It's fun to see.
Yeah, it's a nice experience.
But,
like, would I go to Churchill Downs and watch the Kentucky Derby if I could?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, but would you seek out the event if would you try and rally up a group of friends to go to the Kentucky Derby?
It'd have to be like a...
But would you be the one doing it is really the question.
No.
Exactly.
I don't think I would. But I'm also not the type to really try to plan things.
Yeah, fair enough.
But like bachelor party, hey, do you guys want to go to Kentucky Derby?
That'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be really fun.
I think it would be a great event to see in person.
Yes.
But I just don't know. I don't understand the hype around it as like just watching it on television. It's just kind of a joke to me.
Could I argue, and I don't even necessarily agree with what I'm about to say, but could you say something like the Masters? Like golf in general is a little overrated to watch?
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, I think the Masters is great. I think it's beautiful where they play. Like
right.
Augusta's gorgeous.
Right.
But is it overhyped in the fact that they're playing golf and it's not really fun to watch? I could argue that watching horse racing is more fun for the 30 seconds or 20 seconds, whatever it is, than watching the Masters.
I'll give you that. Yeah. I mean, I like playing golf, watching golf. The big tournaments, they can be exciting, but it is a slow-paced game for sure.
Yeah.
The other thing too with like watching these big horse racing events, like we got the Preakness coming up and the Belmont Stakes eventually, is like the preliminary races that they have and everything in between is just so dragged out. Like they got 5 hours of coverage or more for this 2-minute race.
And it seems like it's only really interesting if a horse is going for the Triple Crown.
Pretty much, which this is the first leg of the Triple Crown. So.
Which what you just wrote down.
Yeah.
This is not even going to happen because Sovereignty is not going to be racing in Preakness.
Right. So yeah, Sovereignty did pull the upsetting favorite Journalism. Finished second.
I do love the names.
The names are pretty fun.
I'm also a little disappointed that Mystic Dan did not try to go for a back-to-back.
Right. Mystic Dan. That was a good one.
That was a good one. It was even better, too, that we were, like, congratulating Danny on the win. Because his name is Dan. He's like, thanks.
He's like, shut the fuck up. But yeah, Sovereignty's not going to compete in the Preakness due to, I guess, health concerns is what it sounds like. Or,
Healthy enough to win the Kentucky Derby, though.
Yeah. It was a muddy one. I don't know if you saw how much it was raining.
I did see that, yes.
But yeah, it was gnarly.
Also, other people would probably argue NASCAR, like Daytona 500, because they're probably like, who cares? They're going in circles.
I mean, at least cars are like kind of cool, I guess. I don't know.
Like, I've always thought F1 is a little overrated.
Yeah, F1's overrated.
We've talked about before.
For sure.
One thing I thought was interesting about this year's Kentucky Derby was every horse in the Kentucky Derby this year was a descendant of the Secretariat. Every horse that raced in this race.
Interesting.
And, of course, Secretariat won the Triple Crown in 1973.
Is that long ago now? Yeah.
And I didn't realize that there's been 2 after that. Maybe even 3 who've won the Triple Crown.
Yeah, it's happened.
We talked about American Pharoah.
Yeah.
And there was another horse that did it like 2018, which I didn't even pay attention to.
I guess I didn't realize that. The American Pharoah did it in like 2000, like when we were in high school or something like that. Or maybe a little after. Yeah.
So I thought, it's just a crazy stat that the Secretariat, they're all descendants of that horse.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. Did not know that.
And does that happen a lot? I know you don't know the answer to this, but I wonder if that happens a lot in horse racing where they find a horse that has dominated. Like, I wonder how many...
I'm sure.
I wonder how many descendants of American Pharoah there are right now out there.
I don't know.
Because it won the Triple Crown.
Right. I would think there are some, for sure.
So,
yeah,
it probably happens more than you think.
Yeah. I didn't know that was that much of a thing where it would have a whole field worth.
I know.
But I'm not shocked that they would do that.
Sounds a little incestual.
Yeah.
Don't really love that, but whatever.
Anyhow, moving on, the Giants took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs to start the week. Won 3-1 today and 14-5 yesterday in 11 innings, which was wild. 9 runs in the top of the 11th.
Are we no longer doing Giants of the Month?
We didn't really do it.
That's okay.
We could have done it last week, I guess, but
That's fine.
you could throw out a courtesy one if you want. Who's your Giant?
Ooh, Giant of the Month. Man, I probably would have said Wilmer Flores to begin the season.
If it was like a 2-week award, yeah. I think overall Jung-Hoo probably had the best month overall. Logan Webb had a great month on the mound as well.
Justin Verlander cannot get a win to save his
life.
life.
He's actually been pitching pretty good. He didn't have his best stuff yesterday, but his last 3-4 times out, he's been pretty solid.
Well, yeah, because winning as a pitcher, I mean, you can do really well, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a win.
Right.
So
that's why I'm not a huge fan of the win stat, so to speak. But yeah. No, I'm glad to see he's got his season back on track, or on track. Never really had it on track to begin with. But yeah, Giants 24-14 now. 3rd in the National League West and tied for the 3rd best record in baseball. Still got the Dodgers and Padres playing really good ball right now.
Really, I mean, as we expected.
Yeah.
I don't think we thought the Giants would be doing this well at this point.
So it's.
But I think we expected. To be probably still behind the Dodgers and the Padres as of right now,
and even the Diamondbacks.
Yeah,
I mean, Diamondbacks are over 500, sitting in 4th place. What the fuck we got to do?
And the Rockies, do they have 8 wins yet? What's their deal?
Well, so they beat the Giants in the first game of that series over the past weekend, and then the Giants beat them 3 in a row.
A little embarrassing.
Yeah, but that was their 6th win of the year.
Yeah, it's their major league team. They're going to win games.
Right.
You can't. They're not just going to roll over.
Yeah, I mean, taking 3 out of 4 from them, I'm totally fine with that. Yeah.
I mean, you want 4, obviously, especially to a team like that.
Right.
You're going to take.
You can't expect it. It's baseball.
You'll take the series win.
Right.
Do series wins in baseball mean a lot? They probably do when it comes to tiebreakers.
Well, it's kind of an old school thing. Well, no, not. I mean, your head-to-head record. I don't know how that breaks down at the end of the season. I know they did just start implementing tiebreakers because of the wild card round, but they used to break ties if it mattered at the end of the season with a 1-game playoff.
Okay.
Yeah, if it had any playoff implications.
So series wins don't really mean anything. It just looks good. Looks good on the stats.
Yeah, it's good to walk away from a series and say, yeah, we took 2 out of 3.
We got 3 out of 4.
Or 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's kind of an old school way of thinking about it. Hey, you go on the road and you take 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
If you can get a sweep, that's great. But
just
try to win the series.
Kind of boosts the egos.
Yeah.
Makes everyone feel better.
Right.
Okay.
It's also another way of thinking about it is you got to pitch your whole staff, generally speaking, over the span of 3 games. So if you were able to even just get to 2 wins, that's a bonus.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the Stanley Cup playoffs. We had 2 epic Game 7s that capped off round 1.
Can't say I watched either of them, unfortunately.
They were pretty amazing. We actually had the Stars-Avs game, which is the first one we're going to mention here, on, and we had some Stars fans in the house for it.
Oh, did you?
They walked in early in the 3rd period when the Stars were down 2-0 to Colorado.
Were they from Dallas?
I believe so. I think the gal said that they were from Texas. So
were they here on vacation?
I think so, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the Stars came back and beat the Avalanche 4-2 on Saturday after trailing 2-0 in the 3rd. And former Avalanche player Mikko Rantanen had a hat trick for the Stars, which was pretty wild. Yeah.
Howdy.
So Mikko Rantanen, I don't know that I mentioned this when it happened, but he's a borderline superstar player. And he was traded twice this season. Twice? I can't think of any player in any sport in recent history that's been traded twice in one season like that. Anyone that's relevant in their sport. The only one I can think of is back in 97 or 8 or whatever it was when Mike Piazza got traded from the Dodgers. He went to the Marlins for a week, and the Marlins flipped him to the Mets.
Okay.
A week later.
A-Rod never got tossed around twice in a season?
No, I mean, I think the only time he moved was in the offseason.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a free agent, signed with the Rangers, and then they traded him before the 2004 season to the Yankees. So, yeah.
CP3 doesn't count because did he actually get traded to the Lakers?
Nah, I wouldn't say that counts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, twice in one season is insane.
For
a guy who's legit.
For someone that you say is...
Yeah, I mean, he's got the 4th most points in the league over the last 3 years. So this guy's...
So what would you say, if you could, what his issue is?
Well...
What would be the the reasoning behind doing that.
Part of it was with Colorado, he was going to be a free agent after the season.
Okay,
So they were like, if we're not going to be able to work out a contract extension with you,
some kind of equity.
Yeah, we're going to try and get something for you. And so they didn't come to terms. They traded him to Carolina. And in Carolina, he wasn't playing all that great in his like month of games worth in Carolina. So I think they were like, this isn't a great fit. We're going to try and trade you right before the deadline just so we can get something back.
Okay.
And so they traded him to Dallas, and they worked out a contract extension. So he's going to be in Dallas for another 8 years after this one.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's a big. Yeah, so he must be good. That's a big contract.
He's legit.
Is he young too?
Yeah, he's like right in his prime. I think 27 or 8, something like that.
Because 8-year contract.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Right. I mean, I was trying to like think about a comparison like with the NBA, and it would be like if Jaylen Brown was going to be a free agent after this season or something, and the Celtics were like, okay, we just got to trade you. They trade him to like a good team in the West.
Yeah.
Doesn't work out, and they trade him again. Yeah.
Jeez.
So kind of weird scenario, but he got his revenge against his former team.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love that.
The other Game 7 was the Jets and the Blues. The Jets beat the Blues 4-3 in double overtime on Sunday. This game was nuts. Winnipeg scored 2 goals in the final 2 minutes of regulation to tie this one, with the game-tying goal being with 3 seconds left in regulation, which is the latest game-tying goal in NHL history. And then, of course, they went on to win in double overtime. And the Jets and Stars are actually playing Game 1 right now. We might see if we can figure out a score of that game a little bit later on. But
a double overtime game in a Game 7 as a fan.
Dude, insane. And Winnipeg won the President's Trophy for having the best record in the league this year, and they had to go Game 7, Round 1.
Because when the Sharks were down, what was it, 2017 to the Vegas Golden Knights?
2018 or 19, something
was that Game 7 or Game 5? No, they didn't do
it was Game
5.
7.
Did that go overtime? Yeah, it did go overtime.
Yep, yeah, the Sharks tied it.
And then
The Sharks took the lead in regulation.
The Golden Knights, yeah.
Vegas tied it, and then Barclay Goodrow had the game winner in overtime. Yeah.
So we kind of know how that feels.
Oh, yeah. Overtime hockey is maybe the most stressful of all the sports.
Well, I always talk to you about when we watch the Sharks play, was it the Predators? No. Palisades?
Yeah.
Like 3 overtimes.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
That's right.
I don't think that was a Game 7.
It wasn't.
I think it was earlier
because the Sharks, I believe, ended up going on to win that series, but they lost that game.
Yeah, which was we were at Palisades until like midnight. No,
that was pretty wild.
It was awesome,
and that was before they stayed open late.
That was probably before the back was open.
Oh, it was for sure.
Yeah, I remember asking the bartender at the time. He's like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, do you probably like these games, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, they're great for business."
Yeah,
because we were there the entire time.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting that there was a pretty decent crowd. I don't know if it's just because
that's probably because Palisades was small.
They were not telling anyone to leave or whatever. But
yeah, of course. So I think they were getting to that point where they were wanting to close, but the game kept going, and they're like, "Well,
yeah,
we're not going to tell these people to leave when this game's
exactly
multiple overtimes."
And the beers are still flowing.
Yeah, exactly. That guy knew that our asses were in that chair until the game was over.
Right.
And that check couldn't come quick enough when the Sharks lost.
Yeah. Sticking with the NHL, the draft lottery was on Monday. The New York Islanders won the lottery with the 10th best odds at just 3.5%.
For the last time, no.
No, don't like that.
No, they did jump the Sharks, which is why this is relevant news to us, who had the highest odds at 18.5%.
They got
the shirt on. But the Sharks still will be drafting second, which is not a bad spot to be in at all.
No.
There are 2 consensus top prospects, one being defenseman Matthew Schaefer, the other one's center Michael Misa, who looks to be the guy the Sharks are going to go after.
How do you feel about that?
I mean,
do you think he's a good prospect? Do you think the Sharks should trade the pick?
I don't think they should trade the pick. I think they're in a spot right now where you just got to keep stockpiling the prospect pool. Yeah, and he looks like a guy who could play in the league next year. Kind of celebrated it.
Okay.
So I do wish, because Schaefer seems to be the guy that's probably going to go number 1. He's a defenseman, which the Sharks are a little bit weaker on that side when it comes to our prospect capital. But yeah, I mean, you just got to keep looking.
Fingers crossed the Islanders do not pick Schaefer.
I mean, that would be nice. Yeah.
So I was telling you before we started. So 2 years ago, the Sharks don't get Bedard. Goes to Chicago, a big market city.
Right. Which the Sharks didn't have the best odds that year. I think Columbus did.
Okay.
So they're the ones who got kind of jobbed out of that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But the Sharks were not good.
Yeah, the Sharks, I think, had the 3rd best odds that year.
Sharks last year, number 1 pick. They get Celebrini.
Yep.
We love Celebrini.
Yep.
Awesome. This year, they have the best odds. And you're telling me the Islanders with the 10th best odds at 3.5%.
Pretty crazy.
Another big market New York get the number 1 pick. It smells kind of fishy. Little fishy.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the Sharks start stockpiling.
Yeah.
You know, I think Danny said it 2 weeks ago or last week. Next 2 years, Sharks go to the playoffs.
Yeah, right.
Which is
I don't think that's like a crazy take because if Celebrini and some of the other young guys develop quickly, they could be they could be in the playoffs. The playoffs are easy to make. You got to be in literally the top half of your conference to make the playoffs.
Well, the Sharks haven't been there in a while, so
No,
I don't know how easy that is.
Yeah, but I just think it's very doable. All right, we finally got the game on.
Yikes.
Okay, so you have 71-43.
You think Sal's feeling pretty good right now?
Well, he's hooping right now. He didn't know what's going on.
Yeah. He's going to be a happy guy. But
Yeah.
I guarantee you, whenever he sees the score, unless he sees the final, he's not going to be...
He's not going to be... Yeah.
He's not going to be satisfied.
No.
At all. Because, they blew that last game.
Yeah.
We'll get to it, but they blew it.
I mean, I think, given that they blew it, and if they can finish off this win in dominant fashion, they should be feeling good about themselves going forward. All right, on to the Champions League. Speaking of Sal, we watched PSG play today over at Barnhouse, which was fun.
Did you like Barnhouse?
It's the second time I've been there. I only hung out there for like maybe an hour on a karaoke night.
Did you?
Yeah, went with Brett to meet up with Rachel, and Dylan and Katie were there too.
Nice.
And I that was not a good representation of what the place probably is. But
did you sing?
No.
Not surprised.
Katie's friend sang though that night, and she was super good.
Really?
Yeah, she sang what's that song by Paramore?
Misery Business?
Yeah.
Damn, she did Misery Business?
I know, which is not an easy song.
Not your prototypical...
She hit some notes too.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. No, she killed it.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I would not ever think Misery Business would be my first pick for...
And there were some other people who sang that night that were pretty good, but she was by far the best.
Well, I think Misery Business would be a hard song because, like, Haley Williams in the song,
she hits some...
Well, she, like, kind of sings quickly at the beginning of the song and all that, or parts of the song.
Yeah.
But it's a good crowd pleaser because everyone knows that song, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Not that anybody else could probably hit the notes in the crowd, but you get the people going with that one.
Yeah. I don't know that she peaked the way Haley Williams can, but she got up there. I got to give her to her.
Can anybody really peak like Haley Williams can? I mean, come on. She's good at what she does.
Exactly.
Do they have liquor at Barnhouse?
I did not see. You know what? I think they have like low proof alcohol. Like I think Aperol is the booziest liquor they have because they can only serve certain things.
So where'd you go after?
Went to Bounty Hunter.
Got it.
Yeah. But took a little celebratory shot.
There you go.
But yeah, on the other side of the bracket, Inter Milan, they beat Barcelona 4-3 yesterday and 7-6 on aggregate. So that's who PSG is going to be playing in the final.
Yeah.
And PSG, they beat Arsenal 2-1 today and 3-1 on aggregate. Going back to the final, second time in club history.
Let's go.
I'm stoked. I'm like, I know it sounds corny, but genuinely proud of this team.
Yeah.
Because when we saw them, they were like this star-studded cast of characters.
Yeah.
It was almost like watching a movie with a bunch of guys that were, really good actors, but they just made a shitty movie.
It's like, was that movie like, oh man, just keep going. I can't remember. I know exactly what you're talking about though.
Or honestly, it's not far off of that Tarantino movie that he came out with like 4 years ago or whatever it was.
I'm thinking of like The Expendables.
The
movie Expendables.
I don't know if I've seen that.
I'll tell you who's in it. It has Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Dolph Lundgren, who was in Rocky IV, Mickey Rourke, Terry Lewis, Randy Couture, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Just had a bunch of guys in it. You know what I mean? It's like one of those. I would say Ocean's like 11, but that's a good movie actually.
Ocean's 11's good. Yeah.
Just a lot of people in it.
Yeah. But yeah, this team that they have now is much more of a team, and their coach Luis Enrique has been extremely instrumental in bringing them together to put together a good club.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's exciting to watch.
Happy for our boys.
Yeah, May 31st.
Can't say I've watched one game because I've started to figure out that games are played on Tuesdays.
It's Tuesdays and Wednesdays are Champions League.
Because I always get my phone blown up from soccer stuff on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And I'm not even going to be able to watch the game. I mean, I guess I could like put it on my phone before I work and pay attention to it a little bit. But
I will give you that it's not the most accessible sport for Americans, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it's been an exciting Champions League for the boys. Yeah, May 31st is the final. At noon. Be there, be square. Me and Sal will be watching.
You gonna go back to Barnhouse?
Maybe so.
I mean,
We'll see.
That's where the vibes were.
The vibes are right.
Is it like Frida's 2.0?
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that cop.
Nothing will beat the Frida's Giants 2014.
No, that playoff run was insane.
That was insane.
With a little bad juju from Fazerati's mixed in.
That was. I mean, I'm just saying.
They did win one game while we were there. The wild card game. I don't know if you remember that.
Was that the same? It was the
When
same
Mad
season,
Bum
I
went
Crawford.
complete game. Crawford had the
Grand Slam.
Yeah.
But that World Series game, it was like, I feel like when we walked in, it was already like 5-0.
Yeah, it was bad.
terrible.
It was bad.
We didn't even stay there for that long. I mean,
And James was with us.
Yeah, bring a Dodger fan to a Giants game? Like, come on, dude. What were we thinking?
Yeah, that was bad. Your Cowboys, they acquired George Pickens in a trade with the Steelers. How do you feel about that?
I really don't care.
Yeah.
It does nothing for me.
I mean,
Everything the Cowboys do until they start winning playoff games does nothing for me.
Yeah. He's obviously a talented player. I just...
Kind of a head case.
A little bit of a head case. Is he going to be productive is probably the big question.
I hope so. He better be. I mean, come on.
The thing is, like, you already got CD, who's like one of those 150 target a year guys. So is he gonna be a problem in the locker room because he's not getting the same amount of touches? I don't know.
He has to know going into this
You would think.
that he's going to be the pseudo number 2.
You would think. Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's an obvious...
He knows who CeeDee Lamb is. He knows who the Cowboys are. He knows this.
Right.
This is known. So if he has like high hopes of being number 1 and trying to like start shit, I don't want that. Like, can you be a number 1 but like still be the number 2? I'd rather have that.
Yeah.
And also, I'll give the Cowboys credit because, like I talked about last week, they did not address receiver in the draft at all, which I thought they should have a little bit.
For sure.
And so I'm glad that Jerry Jones or Stephen Jones, whoever's running this terrible organization, is doing this because it's what they need. They gave up a couple mid-level draft picks the next couple of years or whatever. But
Yeah, 3rd, 5th, and 6th. Are you okay with that haul going away to Pittsburgh? Or it seems like a lot of... like.
Seems like a lot.
I almost feel like I'd rather give up a 3rd and a 4th than a 3rd, 5th, and a 6th. There's just a lot of...
Yeah.
Because even though those 5th and 6th round picks don't sound valuable, it's accumulation kind of thing. You know?
It's funny that the Cowboys and Steelers do picks with each other because just the history,
Yeah.
Cowboys-Steelers, I know it's been a long time since they've really been relevant against each other.
Right.
But especially like in the 70s and in the 90s too because they went to the Super Bowl against each other.
Yeah.
I don't really mind because the Steelers are in the AFC. I think it's probably why the Cowboys decided to do this because it's not like...
You can't burn them that much.
I mean, I don't know if I can't remember if they played the Steelers, but the only way...
Well, they played them last year, right? So they're probably not going to see them for another
couple years.
few years. Yeah.
So I'm okay with the Cowboys actually making the move. They probably gave up a little too much, which isn't shocking. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not really excited, but it's nice to see the Cowboys actually kind of care about the organization a little bit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, talented guy, but and his contract expires after this year. See if they try to extend him. The reports are that they have no intention of doing that before the season starts, which I think is a smart move. You got to see if he fits.
Well, and I do trust Dak Prescott besides having the football in his hands.
Yeah.
Because I do think he's a leader of men, and I think
Sure,
maybe
yeah.
George Pickens can see that and see like, man, this guy really is for the team and for like pretty much a selfless guy. I would guess about Dak Prescott.
Right.
So maybe Dak can kind of help George Pickens maybe get out of his head a little bit, maybe not want to be the guy. But
It's also an interesting move from Pittsburgh's side where it kind of tells you a lot about how they felt about George Pickens because they acquired DK Metcalf, right? And then you're like, okay, they're going to have this sick 1-2 punch, but they're like, actually, we really just wanted him to be our number 1. George Pickens, we're good.
yeah,
You know.
I mean, yeah, the Cowboys hopefully have a good 1-2 punch now.
Yeah.
They're still going to be 3rd in their division. Doesn't matter. I mean,
On paper, for sure, yeah.
For so.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pull Colin Cowherd and say they're going to be behind the Giants. I think that was
That's a stretch.
I think it was a little too much of a stretch by Colin.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He pretty much did what they did for the Niners. He
Yeah.
had the Niners going 4th, and he's had the Cowboys. I just don't see, unless Jackson Dart's the Messiah.
Yeah, I mean, or...
And I guess they have Russell Wilson.
They got Russell. James.
I think the Cowboys' ceiling is 3rd right now. I could be wrong.
I mean, I guess I could see from the standpoint of the Giants, like, Brian Daboll's coaching for his job. So he's going to try and do everything he can to win games. He's probably not going to give a shit who plays quarterback as long as they're the best one he has. So, yeah.
But it's fun. It was surprising because the Cowboys, I feel like, don't ever make trades.
Right.
Especially for things
Not to this level.
especially things that they need.
Yeah.
So I won't say congrats, Jerry, but good job for doing your job.
Yeah, right. And last but not least for the news, Spurs head coach Greg Popovich has officially stepped down from his role as head coach and is moving to the front office as president of basketball operations.
A little bit of a bummer.
Yeah, it's easy to see coming after he had his health issues, had the stroke back in, I believe it was November, that we've already talked about. But it sounds like he's getting better, but he decided that it was never going to be enough to be on the sidelines again.
And I know he just had a stroke, but seeing him on the podium with, I think it was Ginobili and Tim Duncan right next to him, you could tell he looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
And hopefully the recovery is quick and is effective.
Right.
But you can just tell that he was not
quite there,
so
yeah.
it makes total sense why he's not the head coach.
Right.
A quick little rundown of what he's done as a head coach for the Spurs, if you don't already know. 5-time NBA champion, 3-time coach of the year. When the NBA did the top 75 or top 75, they also did 15 coaches.
Oh, nice.
He is of course on that list, and then he has the most wins as a head coach in NBA history.
Yeah. Now he's had a pretty epic career as a head coach,
and he coached the Olympic team men's basketball 2020 to a gold medal.
Yep.
And he's just a plethora of Hall of Famers that he's. David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Parker Ginobili, and even Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Kawhi, people forget that Kawhi Leonard was the Finals MVP in that 2014 year. And, was the reason, not the reason, but he missed a couple of key free throws in 2013 that made the Heat win that series.
Yeah.
Or win that Game 6 and go on to win Game 7.
Right.
And people forget, too, that, Greg Popovich, along with Tim Duncan, Tim Duncan is 5 out of 6 NBA Finals wins. Yeah, that's the only ones they lost. Yeah. So who would have known? Who knows if they would have if they would have won in 2013, if they would have won in 2014? Because I think the revenge factor was a big part of 2014's win because they knew they were that close. But still, it just shows that they were really good when it counted the most. But never went back to back.
Yeah, they never had that true dynasty feel. It was kind of spread out.
Yeah, spread out over a long period of time. I would still say that they were. I guess it depends on your definition of dynasty, but they won 5 championships in a 20-year span.
Yeah, they were more of a long-term kind of a. And Patriots isn't a good.
I always compared them to the Patriots. Especially because they were going along at the same time.
Right.
Popovich, Belichick are both kind of hard at the podium.
Right.
They had their humble Hall of Famers, Tom Brady, Tim Duncan.
A little bit of a culty vibe.
Yeah. Won 4 championships for a long time and won the 5th one. Yeah. 6-1, whatever.
Speaking of great players he coached too, don't forget Boris Dio and Thiago Splitter.
Who was also really they were always really good. You say Boris Diaw? Yeah. Who was Patty Mills?
Patty Mills.
He was good.
A great role player.
St. Mary's finest.
It's St. Mary's finest. That's right.
Yeah, they
had so many good role players over their time.
Oh man,
insane. Bruce Bowen, the king of the Zaza Pachulia. Right.
He made it. Yeah. Avery Johnson, whose number is actually retired by the Spurs.
That's pretty crazy.
A little surprising.
Yeah.
You know who I was bummed out the most for? Well, I'm bummed out for Pop, too, for this, but I really wanted to see the possible one more championship run with a Wemby.
Yeah. That would have been cool.
But, things happen, life happens.
Yeah. It's cool that he did get to have a connection with him, and he's going to obviously continue that being Pobo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
El Jefe, as you put it. Very cool.
Yeah.
Sad to see him not go, but sadly he's not going to be no longer on the sidelines.
Right. Shout out to Stanford alum Mitch Johnson, been elevated to permanent head coach from interim.
And Greg Popovich had to give the major stamp of approval for this.
100%. It makes too much sense. I mean, Mitch obviously coached the team from the sideline for the majority of the year. There wasn't anything he did that was going to be different than what Pop was already preaching. And in a way, he's going to be. You could say Pop's going to be kind of coaching through Mitch as they go forward.
Could you, in any is there any realm of possibility? Let's say for some reason, the next few years, Steve Kerr calls it quits with the Warriors.
And he goes to coach the Spurs.
I'm just saying.
I don't think that's a crazy thought.
Given their relationship,
Yeah.
given how the Spurs seem to be on the rise, especially when they get Giannis.
Yeah. I actually think it would be pretty cool if, say, in 2 years after this, Steph retires, Steve Kerr also says, I'm out, takes a year or maybe 2 off, and then the Spurs are on the cusp of being a championship-level team, but they just need someone to take them to the next level. Steve Kerr comes in, boom.
Yeah.
I think it's a good call, but yeah. Do you want to make it a bold prediction?
No. Well, I guess it would be kind of a bold prediction because of what Steve Kerr has done with the Warriors, and It seems like he's kind of like the Pope there. Like, he's pretty much going to go if he wants to go because they're going to always have him.
I think when Steph and Draymond are not there anymore, he won't want to be there anymore. To be honest, unless they draft some superstar in the next few years, but I don't see that being very likely.
Yeah.
No.
Bold prediction. Do you think it's bold? Is it bold?
I mean, it's a lot that has to happen for that to come to fruition, and it feels like it's a long way away from happening.
Most of my bold predictions are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll do it. Why not?
Send it.
Bold prediction. Let's see. LeBron James is gonna retire too. Did you hear about that? Steve Kerr will coach the
Kerr to the Spurs.
Not your Tottenham Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs.
I have a little baby one with you.
Thanks.
This kid has been looking at me.
Yep. Today's the 7th. Okay. It's there.
It's in there.
I like that one. That one. I feel pretty good about that one. Might not happen, but I think
it's a cool one that's got some potential.
Exactly. Okay. Let's see if I can get my notes back here. There they are. Cheers.
Cheers.
To Steve Kerr finally leaving the Warriors. Nuggets are down by 31.
Halftime. 87 points. My God.
Jesus Christ.
So the Thunder did exactly the opposite of what the Timberwolves did yesterday.
Man, that was
31 points and a half. Good Lord.
No. What did they have at the end of the first? It was like 18 or something?
It was less than 20 for sure.
That's bad.
But yeah, they had an even worse second quarter.
That's real bad.
They were really close to going into the half with less than 30, and they hit a couple shots late in the half.
Speaking of the NBA playoffs, the first round, we'll do a little recap on that.
Si, senor.
The Timberwolves finished off with Lakers. Interesting use of words there, by the way. Finished off with Lakers.
Pause.
Anyways, last Wednesday in Game 5, Rudy Gobert had probably one of the best games of his career, 27 and 24. You think LeBron's not retiring. I think it's still very much on the table.
He's not.
You don't think so?
I don't think he's going to. Is it on the table?
It's definitely on the table.
It's teetering. It's like have you ever played paper football?
Yes.
Where you got to get a leaner? That's where it's at.
Have I ever played paper football? Come on, dude. Come on. That was the dumbest question you've ever asked me, I think, on this podcast.
Trying to give the people the idea.
Trying to give them the idea. Okay. I mean, you know what LeBron announces right now? That he's not going to the Met Gala. He's not going to announce retirement right now. His leg's all fucked up. He's got to see if that leg's going to be okay.
It'll be good. He just injects some steroids like he's been taking for the last 10 years.
Yeah, NBA just sweeping that under the rug, right?
It's LeBron's turn for a drug test? No, actually, it's somebody else.
No.
Yeah.
Are steroids even illegal in the NBA?
Yeah, performance-enhancing drugs are not.
Okay.
Definitely not okay.
Oh, LeBron, your turn. Ooh, what'd you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, just sweep it under the rug a little bit.
Was this an injection day? Oh, yeah, you're good.
Injection day. They probably did it for Barry Bonds, too, right? Hey, the hat. You see it?
Yeah.
Barry Bonds, baby. The Knicks beat the Pistons, like I said, in 6 games. Jalen Brunson had a dagger 3 in the... Jalen Brunson had a dagger 3 in that game 6 to cap off his 40-point
That was
night.
cold.
Jalen Brunson's... It was shades of the Michael Jordan push-off.
A little bit, because he kind of gave him the shoulder.
I mean, obviously it was like a game 6.
Yeah.
I guess this was game 6 too. So
yeah.
I mean, hey, I'm just saying. But when I saw it, I was like, ooh, that kind of a little bit of a Jordan vibe.
Yeah. Clutch player of the year, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Living up to it.
So congrats to the Knicks.
He had another big bucket today, which we'll talk about later.
He's good. Do you think the Mavericks are like, man, why did we get rid of that guy? And Luka? I'm just saying. Would you rather have Jalen Brunson right now or Kyrie Irving?
I think Brunson. By a slim margin.
By a slim margin,
yeah.
I think, too.
And also a little bit younger,
Yeah, it always helps.
Yeah.
The Clippers pushed the Nuggets to a Game 7, but lost 120-101 in Game 7. James Harden, your boy, did in fact turn into a pumpkin.
Pumpkin mode.
7 points. He went 2 for 8 from the field
8 field goal attempts.
in the entire game. 8 field goals.
I think I hit that bell more times than he shot the ball.
That is simply unacceptable for your quote-unquote star player to shoot. That man only gets 8 shot attempts and could have been good defense by the Nuggets, possibly.
Yeah.
But the man's never been afraid to throw up shots, and all of a sudden in Game 7 he is.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, exactly. Like, where's the aggression? Like, you got to be, like, I know James Harden is not the player he was 5-6 years ago, but he still was an all-star this year. He's a guy that they rely on to score the basketball. I know he's more of a point guard now, but still, he was a 20-plus point per game guy this year. You can't be taking 8 shots.
And he has to know, going into playoff games, how he's played and what people say about him in the playoffs. He has to know this.
100%.
And he has let this happen. 8 field goals.
Yeah, it's bad.
Not saying if he would have put up, 20 that they would have won the game. He could have, would have been worse if he went, 8 for 20 from the field because we would have killed him anyways for that.
Right.
But I got to see more of an attempt to try to win the ball game.
And I think he only shot 2 free throws.
Well, how many assists did he have? Did he even help in that?
He did have, I think, double-digit assists.
Okay, so
we'll give him that a little bit. But still, like I said, he's a guy that they rely on to score the basketball.
Yeah.
He's one of the two.
Yeah. So the Clippers are going to clip, unfortunately. I feel like they have the dream team. They'd still be cursed.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So the Clippers have the 3rd longest NBA Finals drought of all time, 55 years, and that's because they've never been. That's the longest. That's as long as they've been a franchise for.
Right.
They're behind the Hawks, 63 years, and of course,
I didn't know the Hawks was that long too.
my Sacramento Kings had them all beat. 73 years without going to the NBA Finals, and I had to read that stat twice because it almost seems like it's not a real stat.
It's a crazy number.
73 years?
Is that how long the NBA's been around?
No.
Because it was like 1948.
Well, because I think they won as the Rochester Royals because that is a part of their
Right.
And I think that was probably in the
like
NBA.
one of the sometime in the 50s.
I mean that's an embarrassing stat.
Yeah.
So you know what I did, being me? I was like, wow, that's a long time. So I did a little bit of math. So between the Cowboys, Kings, Giants, and Sharks, I'm looking at currently 122 years worth of not making it to the championship round. And that is a current streak between all 4 of my favorite teams, of my major teams. 122 years of not making it to the championship round.
Not only not winning, just not making.
Not making. And I'll give my Giants...
That was not that long ago.
3 championships.
11 years ago.
Yeah. I will always be thankful for that.
Yeah.
The Sharks went 9 years ago, all that.
Yeah.
So the Kings, 73 years has been. It's a funny. You say it out loud and you laugh.
It's a crazy number.
Cowboys coming in second, 29 years. Gonna be 30. I can promise you that.
Well, every 32 years, a new team goes to the Super Bowl, right?
You would think in theory with 32 teams. And then the Giants, 11 years, hasn't been that long. Sharks also hasn't been that long in 9 years. But it's just you kind of have to add it all up.
Yeah, I mean,
it's certainly longer than what yours would be. I'm just saying.
I picked the right team. Sorry.
No,
I'm kidding.
Your dad picked the right teams.
Yeah, he did.
My dad did not.
I love
pick
my
the
dad
right
for
teams.
that.
My dad came to Northern California. He's like, you know what? Instead of the Warriors, who also weren't good at the time,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick the Kings because the Kings were actually good. And my dad probably.
When did he move up here?
I mean, he moved up here.
Was it the 90s?
Late 90s.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know who was a better team then.
I would have to ask him when he actually really liked sports because it might not have been until I was born.
For sure, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and the Kings when I was 5 years old, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
Make it to
They
conference
were,
finals.
yeah.
So it makes sense. Cowboys, mid 90s, they were coming off a dynasty.
More James Harden hate. Speaking of crazy stats, did you hear about that? He's had 55 playoff games in his career where he's made 4 or fewer shots in the game.
I did see that first things first.
55.
It's a lot.
And then 35 was 3 or fewer. Now, granted, he played a lot of games early in his career where he was a bench player for the
Sixth man.
Thunder.
Yeah.
But still, it's sixth man, though. Not just some guy.
It's insane.
But it's crazy to think about.
So, people wonder why I rely so much on hate watching. It's because I have 122 years worth of not making it to the championship game. Not even winning it. Making it. So that's why I hate watch. It's all I have. It's literally all I have. Rooting against anybody else's team is what I have.
I'm sorry, Devin.
Yes. You know what's worse than 73 years? 122 years. That's all I'm saying. And then the Rockets also forced a Game 7 against your Warriors, but they fell a little short, 103 to 89. Buddy Hield all of a sudden wants to make buckets. He went off for 9 threes and 33 points.
Needed it.
Steph had 19 in the second half after a quiet first half. Your thoughts?
I did not see the Buddy explosion coming, but obviously we'll take.
You'll take it?
We'll take. Yeah, I think he had 0 in the previous game, and then maybe like 4 points, I think, in the game before that. Mm-hmm. That's the... I mean, we're going to get there, I guess, but kind of the reason why I don't think the Warriors are a championship caliber team, because they need a third player to produce for them, and you just don't know when you're going to get it. You know, I mean, I know Podziemski and Buddy have had their moments so far in the playoffs, but yeah, it's seemed like such a mixed bag from the other guys, not named Steph and Jimmy.
I gotta say it because last week I was saying that the series was all but over for the Warriors or for the Rockets, and they did force a Game 7 after being down 3-1. You got to give it to them.
Yeah.
And, it's tough to do.
Yeah. I will tip my cap to the Rockets. They played... They're a very unpolished team, especially on the offensive side, but they have incredible energy and they played great defense. Probably as good as you could ask for.
I mean, I really think if they can get a good ball-handling kind of superstar, man, they would be in business.
I honestly think that they got to move on from Jalen Green.
Already? Yeah.
If they can find someone to give them a better star and put together some kind of package surrounding Jalen Green, because Jalen Green in Game 2 had 38 or something like that, and I don't think he scored more than 10 or 11 points again in the series.
That was his game.
Yeah,
that was pretty much about it.
But he was their leading scorer all year long, and then that's how you perform in the playoffs. That's not a good start. I know he's young.
And it got to the point where it was crunch time in the fourth quarter, and Ime Udoka didn't even have him in
because he wasn't playing he wasn't playing both sides.
And I do respect Ime Udoka for doing that and knowing when to play him and when not to play him. Yeah. But you got to think as an organization, if your head coach, who I think is a good head coach,
I do agree with that. Yeah.
I think he's gotten the ass end of the deal.
He's kind of a piece of shit, but
I think he's gotten the ass end of the deal of losing to the Warriors twice. Newsflash, so have a lot of other people.
Yeah,
but it's really hard to believe that Jalen Green just can't make that next step. Like, a lot of people are saying Kevin Durant should probably go there, which I don't think would be a bad spot. He just can't stay healthy anymore.
He can't stay healthy, and that would be such a short-term, window that they would be creating with him. But I don't know if that would be the best move. Unless they could just get him for cheap, I guess, if you will, without having to give it up too much.
I do agree with that, but I think it could be the shortest window. It could be a Kawhi Leonard 1 year in Toronto type deal, but if you win the championship, none else that matters.
I agree.
Yeah, because I think they have their defense was great against the Warriors.
It was,
and I think all they really lacked was that dog.
Yeah,
who you really felt like who you could be scared of with the ball in their hands. Because I don't think you felt really scared. Fred VanVleet,
he made some shots.
Yeah,
he made some shots.
But they don't have that guy that you're really scared of.
Yeah.
The culture's there.
Right.
But you don't think that they have somebody who could really go out and get a bucket or put the nail in the coffin totally.
Yeah. I also I don't know if they're a 37-year-old Kevin Durant away from winning a championship. He could take them to a first-round win for sure. Mm. But are they a championship-level team with just Kevin Durant replacing one of their better players on the team?
Because even, going back to our Giannis stuff, I don't think... getting Giannis on the Rockets would be great, but he's not I think he wouldn't be the fit that they need.
They'd have to rebuild the roster, I think.
Which I don't think was what they want to do.
Probably not. I mean, like Amen Thompson, I feel like has got to be there. He's one of their best players. Şengün, I have mixed feelings.
Jury's out?
I have a jury's out for me. He's a good player, but is he a championship type player?
I think he has the ability. I just don't. I think he needs to redefine his skills.
Yeah.
So every time that he gets in the post and he's back and like Draymond down, we'll say he looks sloppy.
Yeah.
It looks like he doesn't know what he's doing almost.
He does.
I mean, he does, but
Yeah.
like it just looks like he's almost bouncing the ball.
He's out of
to his
control.
face.
He's out of control.
A little out of control.
Yeah, I agree. And like basically his shot is that little push shot from like 10 feet away, which like if you're 7 feet tall, that can't be your shot. Yeah. Like you got to do something a little better than that.
That's why like if they got Giannis, I don't think it would work because you have pretty much two guys who do essentially the same kind of thing. Maybe not on the defensive side for Şengün, but like they both have to be down low.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else
who's
the Rockets
kind of
could get who's available. Like I could think maybe
James Harden. I'm just kidding.
I was thinking like Jaylen Brown, but I don't think he's available.
No, he's not.
Which
I wouldn't
makes
think
sense.
so. Yeah.
Because do I think he's like a dog? He's a dog, but like
he's Finals MVP. You can't take that away.
Yeah. Like you'd much rather have Jason Tatum, obviously.
Yeah. That's not going to happen.
If that makes any sense. Because
Right.
obviously Jaylen Brown won the Finals MVP, but Jason Tatum is like more
the superior talent. Sure. Yeah.
So it's tough. Like the Rockets, I feel like
they're definitely in an interesting spot. I could see them not doing anything this offseason.
And just rolling with it.
Yeah, just kind of continuing to develop those guys. I just think Jalen Green's... He's one of those guys who just kind of jacks up shots sometimes, and if he's cold, he's ice cold. If he's hot, he's great, but it doesn't happen often enough.
Yeah, he just... I think they want him to be that guy, because why wouldn't you?
Right.
But it's just not there yet.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Anyways, on to the conference semifinals. Pacers and Cavs. Indiana won Game 1 in Cleveland, 121-112. Darius Garland did not play for Cleveland. A little bit of a bummer there.
Yeah.
Pacers were 19 for 36 on threes and had 6 players in double figures scoring. Halliburton led the way with 22 and 13. Isn't it funny that Halliburton was voted the most overrated player in the league? And like, I think for him it's great because it's fueling him.
Oh, for sure. I
100%.
I don't understand that at all. Like when we did our player rankings or whatever before the season, I think I was higher on him than you were, but still, like I think I had him in my top 15. I'm just like, this guy took a team. I mean, being basically the best player on a team that went to the conference finals. How could you call that guy overrated? That's just insane to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Pacers,
and he's got he's got that cold blood in his fucking veins.
Yeah.
Because he's game winning shot here and there.
Well, maybe he's pissed about people talking shit about his daddy too.
Well,
you never know.
Well, that's a different story.
I'm just saying.
That's a different story.
Also, the Pacers also won again yesterday, 120-119. Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter. Thank you. Were all out with an injury. Which, man, if you're the Cavs, you got all those guys out and you were that close. From winning.
And they were like kind of dominating a lot of the game. Yeah.
No, when Dev told me the Pacers won, I don't like to doubt Devin.
Yeah. But you're like, wait, why?
But I was thinking to myself, can you just refresh that one more time?
Yeah.
Because I also checked like an hour prior, and the Cavs were kind of handling business.
They were up by probably 15-ish, if I had to guess.
So she said that, and I was like, man, that's a bad loss.
Well, I guess they were up by as much as 20. I forgot that in my notes.
It's a bad loss because they probably thought going into it, like, man, we're going to be down 0-2 because we have these guys out that we rely on.
Right.
And then we were up, and at the very end, we weren't.
Poor Donovan Mitchell had fucking game of his life and was going to, keep the Cavs alive. Excuse me. But they let it get away.
Yeah. Halliburton hit the go-ahead 3. 1 second left, giving Indiana the 2-0 series lead. Game 3 for Indiana is on Friday. They won both games on the road, and they're heading home. You can't feel any better as a fan. Or as a team.
Yeah, especially as a slight underdog in the situation. They're one of those teams where I think a lot of people slept on them. But obviously they went to the conference finals last year. They got swept, like we've mentioned on this podcast before, but they did give Boston, a run for the money in at least 3 of those games. So
and they got swept by the champs.
They got swept by the champs, who only lost 3 games in the whole postseason last year.
Yeah.
So
I think I might not ever give Indiana credit because it's the Pacers. Although I know the Pacers were good against the Heat back when the Heatles were around and that kind of thing. But
They were kind of good.
I mean, they gave the. Did they ever take the Heat to a Game 7?
I think they did in like a second round situation, but not the year that they looked like the team to beat. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, as the weeks and the days go by, I'm looking like more of an idiot for not trusting the Pacers. But I have to learn from my mistakes somehow. So just give me some time.
I know I haven't gone all in on the Pacers, but I do feel good that I started giving them credit earlier on.
You're way more on them than I am.
Yeah.
Which I'll give you.
Yeah,
and you have been.
Look at Sal too. He called this series from the get go, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Pacers in 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking.
Which it might be 5. At best.
I almost might do him a disservice.
Right.
I mean, he'll get the 1 point for the right team, but geez, because calling a team at 4 is ballsy.
Yeah, especially an underdog team.
It paid dividends. It paid dividends for me in the first round.
Right.
But 4, you gotta be really confident.
Yeah.
Knicks and Celtics. The Knicks pulled off a huge comeback to beat the Celtics in overtime. 108 to 105 in Game 1. They trailed by 20 in the second half. You know, Timothy Chalamet missed the Met Gala to watch this Knicks game. That is such an elite white boy.
Baller move.
Oh my, that is the insane baller move. You know how bad his girl Kylie Jenner wanted to look at the Met Gala?
Oh yeah. And he's like,
but he's like, you know what? You can go alone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the Knicks.
I got Knicks tape on.
Bang bong. I'm gonna watch the Knicks. Yeah, Knicks tape. One of my favorite sayings.
Did Side Talk start that?
I think so. I don't even know.
Shout out Side Talk.
Shout out Side Talk NYC. I sent Nico when the Knicks. Sometimes when the Knicks win games or series, I'll text Nico. I'll say Knicks tape.
Yeah.
So I texted him in all caps after they won the series against the Pistons. I said Knicks tape, and he said in all caps, "Bing bong." Perfect.
Bing bong's a great little phrase too.
But I think Knicks tape.
Knicks tape's hilarious.
It's insanely funny. It's so funny. I'm not even a Knicks fan, but if I can get a shirt that says Knicks tape on it, I would absolutely wear it.
Orange and blue.
The Celtics in this game missed 45 three-pointers. I'll say that again. 45 three-pointers.
Crazy. To even shoot that many, that's about what they average per game, attempts-wise. But then they missed that many in this game.
They went 15 for 60, and I believe the 45 misses is the most all-time in a playoff game. It has to be.
Yeah.
And I think 60 attempts is also the most all-time in a playoff game.
I believe it.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I mean, I know they pride themselves on shooting three-pointers, but what is Charles Barkley that coined it?
Live by the 3, die by the 3?
Live by the 3, die by the 3. It's a real thing. I'm not sure if he coined it, but I know he says it. But it's true.
They have lived quite a bit with the 3.
And it's worked out.
So, I can't...
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I can't give them too much shit, but there is something to, Jaylen Brown after this game said, of course we're going to shoot threes, but we got to be more aggressive and get to the line, take some wind out of the game a little bit.
Yeah. Slow
it down, but yeah. After this game, I wasn't that worried about the Celtics, but you... can carry on.
So Jason Tatum, 7 for 23, which is interesting because this is exactly what I was talking about with James Harden. If he would have put up a stat line like this, we're gonna grill him for it anyways.
Right, but at least he was trying. He's the star player on the team, and he's taking the shots that he's supposed to take.
And he went 4 for 15 on threes, which is not. I mean, it's not good.
Right on par with the rest of the team.
Exactly. So Game 2 was today. The Knicks beat the Celtics 91-90. Boston trailed by 20 again.
Sorry, it was the Knicks trailed by 20.
Oh, sorry. The Knicks.
Yeah. I set you up for failure.
Yeah. The Knicks trailed by 20 again. And then Tatum, 13 points on 5 of 19 shooting. This was the entire game?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's bad.
And I didn't put it in the notes, but we talked about it before the show, that the Knicks in the fourth quarter went on a 19-2 run over a 7-minute span, which is insane.
I caught this game the last 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And, Tatum had the dunk.
He had a nice dunk, and things were looking okay.
Brunson got fouled, which I thought was that foul wasn't really necessary, right? Because it was a shooting foul. He was in the shooting motion, so I think they were in the bonus anyways, but that wasn't...
Yeah. There is something to, making a guy make the shot.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I know it's Brunson, and he's clutch player of the year, and he made a shot 2 games ago against the Pistons.
Right.
I don't love that kind of foul in that situation.
Right.
I'm sure the Celtics didn't either, or the head coach didn't as well.
There's something weird with the Celtics. I'm not...
It's almost like the Monstars has their powers or something like that.
They just like middle of the fourth quarter comes. Whoosh.
Right.
I'm not totally out on them, but this is obviously concerning. Yeah. And once again, the shooting from the outside was a problem. But to have a huge lead and blow it once again, I know 20-point leads are not the same as they used to be in the NBA. Like, that's pretty clear. Even yesterday when the Warriors went into the fourth quarter with a 20-point lead, I did not think it was over. I felt like they needed to play at least a good 8 or 9 minutes of basketball, and they let the
Wolves cut it down to 9.
They got it to 9, so it wasn't definitely not over. But once again, you can't, in the playoffs, if you're the championship favorite, you need to be locking down a 20-point lead, and to let that go twice in a row to a team that you owned all season long too. That's obviously concerning.
And the Celtics are in the same position as the Cavs. Lose both your first 2 games at home.
You got to go.
Now you got to go on the road down 0-2.
Yeah. And
best case scenario is obviously winning both those games, but you got to think realistically they're going to win maybe one, both sides.
Right.
Down 3-1.
Coming back home at best. I wouldn't say best case scenario, but because I think the Celtics are capable of winning both games, but yeah, I mean that. Winning one seems realistic. Right?
Yeah, but now it's for both of those teams, it's are you thinking about the game more than you should be? Is every shot you're oh man, I got to make this? Or it's everything now is so much more pressure on you.
Right. I do have this gut feeling that this game coming up is probably the biggest game that the Knicks have played in a long time. Right. They're in the driver's seat. They're coming back home with a 2-0 series lead over the defending champs. They have to be feeling good. Do they lay not 1 egg but maybe 2 at home? I think it's definitely on the table. I think it's absolutely on the table.
Can the Celtics win these next 2 games? Absolutely.
I don't know if I'm going to predict it.
No.
Bold prediction? Am I going to predict it? Is it a bold prediction to say the Celtics are going to win both games on the road after what just happened?
After being down 0-2?
I think I'm going to say it's going to happen. Are you going to make me take a shot?
I feel like that's... Okay, hold on. Is it...
I mean,
I would say yes, it's bold based off how they've played in the first 2 games at home.
Okay.
Fair. Okay. Look at us. 2 bold predictions in the same episode. Probably been a long time since we've done that. If we've ever done that.
Yeah.
Okay, Emmy.
I like this one.
I like that. Get to add your second bold prediction here. Or that we have.
Yeah.
So, you're going to say the Celtics...
Celtics are going to win both games on the road in New York in the second round of these playoffs. It's going to be funny if they get swept. We talked about this off the air. My boss is a big Celtics fan.
Oh, yeah. I got to know about this.
And we talked about after the game won last. I said jokingly Celtics in 5. And he's like, yeah, I'm honestly not worried, but,
he wasn't worried?
He wasn't worried.
After game 1?
After game 1.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But he did say, obviously, that was a shitty loss. But yeah, so he might hate me for this one. Because I wasn't worried about the Celtics either after game 1. But now it's obviously a different story. All right, down the hatch.
All right. And then I'll talk about the Nuggets and Thunder, who are obviously on right now. Denver won game 1 on Monday, 121-119. The Nuggets trailed by 9 with less than 3 minutes left. Chet Holmgren, Gonzaga's finest, missed 2 free throws in the final seconds that led to the game-winning 3 by Aaron Gordon. We were talking about Aaron Gordon earlier. I never thought that he would be such a contributor on a, obviously already been a champion.
Right.
But I would say aspirations for a championship team now.
Right.
Or championship aspirations for a team right now.
Yeah. It's funny because he was such a big part of that championship team. They've lost some of their depth that they have over the last couple of seasons. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's hurt him a little bit in a way because they've had to rely on him a little bit more. And we know, if Aaron Gordon's more than your third best player on your team, you're probably not going to go that far.
But for the Nuggets, it helps that you have the best player in the league.
That's true, and Gordon's obviously stepped up big time in the playoffs so far. He had the game-winning flush off the air ball,
the smallest of margins.
Yeah, and I think you could say that that's been a rejuvenating thing for him to have such a big play, and then he hits the big three yesterday, or 2 days ago, whatever that was. So good for him.
You thought Rudy Gobert had a big game against the Lakers?
Oh my God, I know.
Nikola Jokic had 42 points and 22 rebounds, and it's become such commonplace, at least in my opinion, that he does this, that you're like, oh, you kind of almost like scoff at it. Like,
right.
oh, Jokic had 40.
Yeah, like every time he has like 30-something and, 15 plus, you're like, all right, that's just Jokic. Yeah.
And it's like 40 and 20 is ridiculous. Yeah. But he does this.
Yeah.
Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
It's in his bag.
Obviously, it's not happening tonight because OKC definitely changed something.
But if you told me, like, I have no idea what his stat line is right now, but if you told me he's got already like 25 and 12, like, I wouldn't be shocked.
And that's like a not a bad game.
Yeah, but we're only in the third quarter, right?
Yeah, exactly. But they're probably, I imagine after this, they're going to probably rest
the
rest of their players. If I had to take a guess.
Yeah. Did you have any problem with the Thunder's foul strategy at the end of that game?
I understand why people are talking about it, but no. I just think it didn't work out. I think Chet Holmgren, was a younger player who missed 2 free throws, much like I talked about Kawhi Leonard in the 2013 finals.
Right.
I think it just happens.
Yeah.
It's probably a game the Thunder should have had. I'm sure a lot of Thunder fans, including our friend Sal, thought they should have had. But I think every time that situation happens, the Thunder probably do that.
Right.
And I think you have to stick to your guns. It didn't work out, but I don't think, especially in the playoffs, if it's worked for you up to this point, you got to keep doing it.
Right. The one foul I actually thought that probably wasn't even really discussed that was questionable was when I think the Nuggets were inbounding the ball down 3 with like 12 or 13 seconds left, and Jokic caught the inbound and they immediately fouled. I'm like, make him like dribble the ball a couple times. It felt really early to start using that strategy, because then you put yourself in a situation where you're in a free throw contest, and I know Shea's a great free thrower, and he obviously gets to the line a lot, so he's used to being there. But if you don't have the best free throw shooting team, that's not an advantage to you, right? And I to be honest, Chet's obviously a very capable shooter. I don't know what his free throwing is like, to be completely honest, but yeah, that just seemed like a little questionable just from the get go. But obviously, execution down the line was the problem. So.
Game 2 is on right now. It's 99-64 in favor of Oklahoma City, which is a ridiculous score.
Yeah, this game's
kicking their ass. It's about a little less than 7 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yeah.
The fourth quarter is going to be a bunch of bench guys.
Yeah.
If I had to take a guess, 'cause that's what it should be.
They should call Pat Spencer. He needs some run.
Danny's boy, Pat Spencer. Looking up jerseys already.
So what's funny is I have a coworker, his name is Spencer, and I would really love to see him rocking a Pat Spencer jersey.
You start calling him Pat. That's funny.
Next time I see him, I'm definitely going to talk to him about it.
Speaking of Pat Spencer, your Warriors played the Timberwolves last night. The Warriors won Game 1, 99-88 in Minnesota. Also, it was the first time in playoff history that every team won the road game in, I think, the semifinal round.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, the opening
game in the semifinal round.
Yeah,
much like I said a couple days ago in our group chat. By the way,
over the last 4 days, I think the road teams, this going to change after this game, but the road teams are 7-0. Yeah. If you count the Warriors win and then the Knicks, again today.
The Wolves only scored 31 points in the first half. They shot 5 for 29 from 3 for the entire game, which is
it's not a winning formula.
Not
Celtics found that out.
Yeah, not good. Buddy Hield, again, the hero, led the Warriors in scoring with 24 points and 5 threes made. Unfortunately, Steph Curry did leave the game in the first half with a hamstring strain. His availability for Game 2 is not going to happen because he's out for
My notes are not up to date.
He's going to be out for a week, so he's going to miss, I would say,
at least 3 games.
Given the back-to-back or every other game.
Every other day,
schedule. Every other day schedule.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're going to miss the next 3 games.
If
you're the Timberwolves, you have to win these next 3 games.
I think so, yeah. I could see the Warriors stealing one of them, but I agree. Like the Wolves, even botching that first game with that they came out totally flat. They they're in the driver's seat, regardless of that. They have to. They have to feel that way.
They have to win the next 3 games. I mean, worst case scenario, it's 2-2. Anything else, they're done.
Yeah. And I think best case scenario for the Warriors is that they can get back to Game 5 in Minnesota
2-2.
tied.
Yeah.
And hopefully Steph is available. But, yeah, to me, the Warriors, if Steph doesn't play another game in this series, they're done. I just don't think they have a chance to win without him. Because, of course, they finished, the majority of this game without him. But game planning for a team without their best player is different than seeing it happen in the middle of one game,
Well, and it's weird because we don't see Steph Curry, especially in the playoff aspect, getting these kind of...
He's missed playoff games, but not
because of a hamstring.
Yeah, and that's
ankle.
Supposedly the first muscle type injury he's ever sustained in his career, which is fucking wild at 37 years old.
Yeah, well, it just goes to show
or 36, whatever he
conditions himself.
Yeah, he obviously had plenty of ligament issues, but yeah, I think. Yesterday's game was pretty crazy. Just the fact that they got out to such a hot start, even without... Steph was playing well while he was in there.
I think he had, 13 points in 13 minutes?
Yeah, but Draymond making all those threes early on, and then Buddy coming alive in the second half.
I saw a tweet, and I said in our group chat, Draymond threes are gunshot wounds to the chest of the opponent. They just are at this point. Yeah. Draymond starts hitting threes, you're like, dude, we are fucked.
Right.
We are fucked.
What do you think about the Wolves coach calling out Anthony... Edwards.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I kind of do too. I hate it, but I love it.
A little tacky maybe.
I hate it as a fan of the Warriors.
Got you.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't need to say it to the press.
But I think he did.
On purpose.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
I think
everybody
he did.
Know.
Yeah.
Because that means to me that he must have at least a good relationship with Anthony Edwards to be able to do that. Because if he didn't, then it's like dead man walking.
Yeah.
Because Anthony Edwards is clearly the star.
Yeah.
But I love it because and even if he didn't think that, I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Edwards was even like, "Hey, can you maybe talk a little shit about me to the press? just kind of get maybe just kind of stir the pot a little bit. You know what I mean? I need something to get me going.
Can we get some headlines?
Seriously, yeah. Because Anthony Edwards seems like one of those. I mean, the kind of mindset of a Michael Jordan, a Kobe Bryant.
He's a little battery.
He's a little battery, for sure. Because I think, the Warriors come off of Game 7. It's like that. The rust versus. Or no.
Rest versus rest. Yeah.
Versus rest.
Yeah,
it's could have been a little rusty for the Timberwolves.
That's
the
fair.
Warriors come off of Game 7. They're still playing pretty hot.
Right.
They still have the juices flowing a little bit.
I mean, going in, to me, there was no reason that the Warriors should have won that game, especially the way they did. It should have, at the very least, the Wolves should have had a chance to win going into the final minutes of the game, and they didn't.
Yeah. I just, watching the game, it's clear that the Houston Rockets were a much better defensive team than the Timberwolves are.
Yeah,
I think.
I didn't even think the Warriors played that great of a game offensively. I thought that, they kind of got fortunate that Minnesota missed shots, but they also played a great defensive game. I mean, I think the Warriors could easily play a better offensive game. Without Steph, that's going to be a different story, but I think, if you look at them playing a full game fully healthy, they should be able to score more than 99 points and shoot the ball better than they did.
Yeah.
That's my personal take. But yeah, on Minnesota side, they can obviously play way better than they did.
They have to.
They shot the ball like shit. 5 for 29 at threes. They're not... I don't look at them as a great shooting team per se, but Anthony Edwards was one of the best three-point shooting players in the league this year.
He made the most threes.
He made the most threes, and he had one of the highest volumes,
So.
and it's still a solid percentage. So, yeah, I think the Warriors are a bit fortunate that the Wolves clearly came out a little flat. I mean, nobody else really gave them anything offensively on Minnesota's side. So, but yeah, I also thought, because I don't know if you watched any of the Anthony Edwards, Naz Reid, and I think Julius Randle was on the podium with him at the press conference, but they were kind of laughing it off. I thought that was a little weird.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of joking around.
I guess I don't really mind. I think it might look a little arrogant, but I don't. I like how they're not
they're not stressed.
totally
about it.
down about
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? Maybe this could have been the news with Steph Curry being down or the hamstring, because they probably know hamstring injuries mean.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know exactly how to take it, but I just thought it was like, don't you want to seem like you're a little more serious about the game? You know, you just totally botched a game that you probably should have won on paper, right?
Yeah.
I just thought that was a little weird, but man, I don't dislike the confidence though.
Yeah.
You know?
So our conference semifinal picks and first round recap. You got that for us?
Yes, absolutely. Let's look it up. So after the first round, you, Devin, and Sal all have 7 points. I'm in last place with 5.
Not too far behind.
Not too far behind. It's going to be tough to make up points because there's fewer and fewer series as we go on. But yeah, I mean the only one that I really scored big on was the Warriors. Yeah,
and you almost got them. I guess you could have got them the right amount.
Easily could have got them. But yeah, everybody else, I think, let's see, Dev nailed Indiana in 5.
I think I nailed 2 or 3 of them, didn't I?
You had a couple. You had the Knicks in 6, the Celtics in 5, and the Thunder in 4. Thunder in 4. You had 3. Yeah, Devin had Indiana in 5, Knicks in 6, and Boston in 5 as well.
Oh, nice.
Sal nailed 2 with the Knicks in 6 and Boston in 5 also. But yeah, as far as second round picks, I had just to make clear, we made all these picks via our text group before each series started, yes. Right? Starting with Denver and OKC, I took Denver in 7. I took the Wolves in 6. I also took Cleveland in 7, which doesn't look great right now. And then I took the Celtics in 5, which cannot happen at this point, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Gage, you took the Thunder in 7, which this series I think is going to be interesting. Obviously,
I feel good about having the Thunder as my pick team, but yes, I think anything could happen. Obviously, this game is a blowout.
This game's a blowout. Nuggets did steal home court, so that's going to be something to watch.
And
but
I know they have young guys, and I know they got the endurance, but playing the elevation, I've always said it's different.
It's a factor for sure. How do you feel about home court advantage in the playoffs nowadays? I feel like it doesn't mean as much as it used to. Because we've seen a lot of road teams,
Yeah. Like you're talking about just
in general, not any team specifically.
Like in the past 5 or 10 years,
or even this season, last season.
Yeah, I guess I would agree with that a little bit, but I still think it matters.
It's not nothing, but I feel like we've seen a lot of teams go on the road and win games. I mean, obviously there's some recency with Indiana and the Knicks winning 2 road games as underdogs, but yeah,
it might not mean as much, but I still always put a lot of
stock in it.
Yeah.
So you took the Thunder in 7. You took the Warriors in 7 against Minnesota.
I mean, I think right now, with the Steph injury, I think it's the probably best possibility for the Warriors.
For sure, yeah. I think that's definitely in play. Absolutely.
I mean, after last night's win and since Steph didn't get hurt, I'm like, man, this could be 5 or 6.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there.
Right. You also took the Cavs in 6, which they're going to need to win 4 straight to get that. And then you took the Celtics in 6 as well, so you'll need 4 straight there.
Not feeling good about
which I'm
either
predicting. For Devin and Sal, Devin took the Nuggets in 7 like I did. She took the Warriors in 7 like you did.
She took the Warriors in 7 before me.
She did, yes. She also took the Cavs in 5, which cannot happen, and the Celtics in 6, which he's going to need a miracle for that. For Sal, he took his Thunder in 6, the Wolves in 5, which was ambitious. They're going to need to win 4 in a row.
Which, with the Steph injury, could happen.
It's not impossible. You're right, not impossible. He also was the lone guy to take the Pacers.
It is paying dividends.
Yeah, and he's got them in 6, and then also the Celtics in 6. So we'll see how that all pans out. This is going to be an interesting situation. We all have some slightly different picks. But yeah, I have no clue what the fuck's going to happen.
No
it's all over the board right now.
I have no clue.
And to top that, we're going to get into our contender rankings, which I even with this result, this is not even affecting it, but it just seems like a total.
Yeah, I know. really
Total
strange.
clusterfuck. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Contender rankings.
I will go first. So
May 7th.
my number one spot, and I feel a lot better right now about it. I'm gonna go OKC number one, although I know they are down 0-1. It's gonna be 1-1 very soon.
It's going to be 1-1. We can be confident about that.
I just feel like they're the best overall team. Yeah, they're young, they're a little inexperienced, but I just feel like they've played so well the entire season that it's warranted of being the number one spot, especially with the teams.
Yeah. And they won 68 fucking games this year.
Number two, I'm going to go Nuggets because they are up 1-0 and who I think is the best overall team. I think that's what I think is fair.
Yeah.
Team, and I know they barely beat them, but hey, barely winning is a win.
Hey, win.
Number three, I'm going to go with your Warriors because they are up 1-0 on the Timberwolves. I think with the Steph injury, I'm not feeling too great about that as of now. But I'm going to roll with it because I still think the Warriors can win in 7. And if Steph can stay healthy, next round, you never know. Knicks, I'm going to go 4. Bing bong. Up 2-0 on the Celtics, who I had number 2 last week. You know, you go to Boston, you win 2 straight. That's tough.
Might have been the most difficult thing to do that we will see all postseason, honestly.
Tough to do.
Even if they continue to win the series.
So I think that's deserving of the number 4 spot. I'm actually going to go, finally, I think the first time they were on my list, your Indiana Pacers at number 5.
All right.
Up 2 on the Cavs, won 2 road games, much like the Knicks. Halliburton's really good. I know the Cavs did have their issues with injuries, but that's part of the game. Can't really help that.
Yeah.
Number 6, I'm going to go Timberwolves. I think they just had a bad game coming off of a few days off, a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's very much a possibility.
The Steph Curry injury, do I think is going to help them out? Of course, but we have to get there first.
Yeah.
Number 7, I'm going to go Celtics, which sounds crazy because they were number 2 last week.
It's a big fall.
But it's like, you're down.
You lose 2 home games.
You're down 0-2 in the series.
Games, man.
That's a 7.
I see where you're at.
It's an uphill climb.
I see where you're at, 100%.
Do they still have the personnel, the coaching, the experience? Yes. And that's why they're not the 8th spot, which is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They don't have the coaching, although I know the head coach is a champion with the Warriors as an assistant. I get all that. But when it comes to the players and the team, I don't believe in it. They're down 0-2, and you're going to be on the road. I feel like it's a tough ask.
Yeah. All right, now I like your list. On my side, I have the Thunder at number 1. I honestly don't even know if I think they're the team that's going to win the championship as of right now.
Yeah.
But they are the best team in the best position because they're obviously going to be 1-1 right here with the Nuggets. But even aside from that, I made this list before this game even started, so I do have the Nuggets at number 2. Obviously, they got Jokic. They have the championship pedigree from a couple years ago. So I'm kind of riding that a little bit, but I'm not even sure that they're the best team either. Obviously, we talked about this list is going to be a little out of whack. I got the Pacers at number 3 as my top Eastern Conference team. Yeah. I don't love it, but I do love the confidence that they're playing with. It seems like they go into every game like they have a chance to win no matter what the circumstances are. Halliburton's playing his ass off, and he's been clutch. At number 4, I still have the Celtics above the Knicks, even though they're down 0-2. It sounds crazy.
Okay.
But obviously I predicted that they were going to come back and win 2 games in New York over the next few days. Yeah. So moving forward with that feeling, I do think they're the better team. They might still be the best team in the East, and I probably should have them at number 3 with that in mind. But
you have to you see it, like they're down 0-2.
It's so hard, yeah. I'm just going to continue to say it. I don't love my list one bit. But,
I don't love mine.
Yeah, but it's just I'm going with what I'm feeling right now. Knicks, I got a number 5. They obviously have the 2-0 lead. I was super out on the Knicks going into the postseason. I don't even think I had them on my list a few weeks ago. I didn't. Yeah, they weren't even in my top 8. But they've impressed me. I'll give them that. Yeah. They seem to, obviously, Jalen Brunson has continued his Clutch Player of the Year performance into the playoffs. So, got to give him that. and they got a good chance to beat the Celtics. But hey, you never know. Knicks could Knicks. At number 6, I have the Wolves. I think last night's performance, you could go as far as to say it was embarrassing for them because they should have beat the older, more, tired Warriors. But Warriors without Steph Curry for majority of the game too. But they did not. But I still give them the edge because I think they're going to beat the Warriors given the situation with Steph's injury.
Yeah.
And I'll give the Warriors a chance at number 7. They obviously already stole a game in the series. I think they could steal another one. And if they get Steph back, I'll give them a shot to win that series.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going to happen in the conference finals. I don't have the Cavs on my list. I think that they could be toast. And that's partially because I feel pretty good about the Pacers and them being up 2-0 going home, even if they get some of their guys back. I don't think it's completely over in that series, but I do expect the Pacers to finish it off. Pause.
I just put all 8 teams because I think it's a little easier for me.
Yeah, but I mean,
what's the difference between having the Cavs 8 for me or not at all? It's like
I can see that. I almost put them there, but I was like, even if I think they're pretty much 98% done.
Gotcha.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Sure, they have a chance. They were a great team this year. But they got to get healthy if they even want to have a chance, in my opinion. So
just not healthy at the wrong time.
You're right. It kind of sucks because, I mean, got to give our credit to the Pacers and Knicks for what they've done. But I do feel like if it's not Celtics Cavs, which doesn't look like it's going to be in the conference finals, I do feel like we're kind of being robbed of a great potential. 2 great teams going at each other in the conference
finals. But I'll tell you this: the NBA will take the Knicks being in the conference.
Oh,
finals.
100%.
Maybe not the Pacers as much, although they are a good story.
Could be a little throwback to 25, 30 years ago of Knicks Pacers and their rivalry.
And they could, that's a great point. They could run with that.
Oh, 100%. And Reggie Miller calling games.
Oh. John Starks on the sideline.
Yeah, right?
Because he will be.
If only ESPN still had Mark Jackson.
Hand down. Man.
What was his other one? Mama don't...
Mama, there goes that man.
Mama, there goes that man.
And that concludes the hardest contender rankings of the year.
Yeah, the dirtiest, ugliest contender rankings you can imagine.
Really, really not nice. And with that being said, what time is it?
Let's go!
Well, yes.
Last call.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'm going to go first.
Go. Get it.
So, Sal sent us this, and I have to mention it because I think it's pretty fun. Would you be the Golden State Valkyries mascot for $130 to $160 an hour?
So, I'm trying to calculate how many times I would be doing this a year.
And do you go on the road?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Actually, almost definitely not.
Probably just...
So, I think they play 40-ish games a season.
I think that sounds about right.
So, let's just say it's 20 home games for 3 hours of work.
It wouldn't be your full-time
job. So 60 hours.
It wouldn't be your full-time job.
Let's go 80 hours just because you got to be there on game day. So 80 hours a year for 160. Let's do a little
there you go. Shout out to the Valkyries. I want to say Valkyrie, but they're called the Valkyries?
I think they're Valkyries. Yeah, it is, the S is plural.
Shout out to the Valkyries for playing their first ever home game.
Yeah, and they had a lot of people in the crowd.
Yeah.
You said it's 160 an hour?
130 to 160. So, I mean, you could just
still 145.
145.
That would be $11,000. That's actually not that bad for 20 events.
Yeah. We got fun.
Could be worse.
I think I'd only consider doing it if I lived in the city.
Yeah, I wouldn't drive to the city for that.
There.
No, absolutely not.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
I want to say some of the mascots in the NBA, I know it's the NBA, make pretty good money.
I'm sure they do, yeah.
Or in the MLB.
Yeah.
The Philly Fanatic probably makes a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely making 6 figures.
Even Lucille, I mean...
Lucille's probably making 6 figures.
You go to a Giants game, Lucille makes his rounds.
Yeah.
The dude's everywhere.
I love the Bulls mascot, dude. That guy's a nut.
Yeah. Throwing
popcorn all over people.
The Suns mascot, I think it's a guy in a gorilla suit. I don't know if it still is. I know. But he's one of the more famous ones.
Yeah.
But to answer the question, I would probably say No, since I'm living in Napa.
Yeah.
If I lived in the city and I didn't
Yeah.
have a car and I could just like kind of like take an Uber there or something like that, or
I would say yes.
I think I would say yes.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of fun. Would you go to? Do you want to go to a Valkyrie game? We talked about this.
I've heard that they got some pretty wild ticket prices, but I don't know if that's for some certain games or not. But I mean,
That's got to be a Chase Center pricing thing. 'Cause, like,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, no disrespect, but it's like it's a expansion team,
Right.
Or a new team in the WNBA. And they're
Right. Maybe give it a few years and see if they kind of level out their pricing a little bit. I might be down. Yeah.
I would like to go. I mean, I want to go to the Chase Center.
I don't know if I'm going to pay more than like $60-$70 for that.
Yeah, like what are the prices what have you seen prices?
Sal was telling me that they have a game against, this is the Fever, who have Caitlin Clark. He said that they had, like, their cheapest tickets were $250.
Fuck.
Yeah. So that's obviously not going to happen. As much as I would love to see Caitlin Clark,
Yeah.
I'm not.
I was thinking, even like for a non-Fever game, I'll say.
Yeah.
I would say baseline. I would say 150, which I think is a lot.
I still think that's more than it should be.
I agree.
Yeah.
With Caitlin Clark, I understand.
Yeah.
But man, 250.
Right.
We are seeing Caitlin Clark, and she's the biggest attraction in probably.
Yeah. She's what
She's
the
the biggest
NBA has
attraction.
going for
Is she the biggest attraction in women's sports right now, in general?
I would, yeah. I actually don't even think that's an argument. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, who else would you argue? Because there's not another basketball player that has her draw. So, I mean, is there a soccer player that's up there? I don't think so. No. I think the U.S. women's national team soccer team could like
As a whole,
like
as a brand.
Yeah, exactly. Could I would put that above Caitlin herself.
Because I would also put maybe Simone Biles, Livy Dunn, that kind of thing. But that's like only no one really watches.
Exactly, that's a
college
very
gymnastics.
specialized. Yeah,
And the Olympics as the Olympic brand, yeah, for sure.
But that's the Olympics also drawing you to them. And it's not just them drawing you to the Olympics.
So,
yeah.
So I think that'd be Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, I think so. The Utah Hockey Club's got an official name. They're going to be the Utah Mammoth.
I gotta say, I agree with you that I don't think I love the name, but I also agree that Mammoths doesn't really roll off the tongue.
Well, you wouldn't say it with
because Mammoth is just it's plural.
I guess
Mammoth,
so,
right?
yeah. I really wanted the Yetis. I think that would have been cool.
I think
Yeti.
yeah. But I do.
The logo, I think they nailed.
The logo was awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of got Nashville Predators vibes.
A lot of people have been saying that today. But I think they nailed the logo, and I think the colors already they already nailed the like baby.
Well, they had that. White. Yeah, they had that already dialed in, and they kept it, which I like. Mm-hmm. They'll have to like totally rebrand.
But I think it's awesome. I think the logo looks great. I'm glad they finally got a name.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize that Mammoth was one of the options, but I guess it was.
Yeah.
So, congrats to the Utah Mammoth.
Yeah.
It'll catch on. It's like the Kraken. I sent it to Dev, and she made a good point. She's like, it sounds better than Kraken.
I think off the top, yes, I would agree with that. 100%.
I think it's a better name, better logo, better colors than the Kraken. Because I'll always say, as much as we talk shit about the Golden Knights, they nailed the name, the logo, the color.
They did good.
They did really
good. And
good.
it's kind of like a play on the,
like you're in Vegas, you have a Golden Knight.
Yeah, but I like how they took that and like made it into something, into a character.
Well, and I always thought the logo of the Knights helmet with the V.
It's good. Yeah,
it's so good.
They did a good job for sure.
But shout out to the Utah Mammoth because I think that was really good.
Good logo, good color scheme.
And I sent it to Garrett. He gave the stamp of approval, and he's hard to please sometimes.
He can.
And he liked it.
Yeah.
So I respect that.
He's our hockey correspondent.
He is our hockey correspondent. You're more of the hockey correspondent, but he actually played the game.
Yes, he did. He did. He got the experience.
If Garrett likes it, I like it.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to say, because you have nothing else, right?
I just want to shout out Easy real quick.
Oh, yes.
And the T-shirt. He told me he would give me this shirt if I wore it out today, and I did not, but I am wearing it on the podcast, so I got to give him some love.
It's a nice shirt. What size is that?
XL.
I like that.
Yeah. Got some guacamole on it already.
That's all right. Yeah, because I made the joke. I said you've been getting his haircut by him for 7 years, and you said probably 10.
I mean, I've been going to the shop that he works at for I would say at least 10 years.
So other people have cut your hair in the last 10 years.
I would say so. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's been like your man.
He's been my guy.
What's funny is I think we talked about it. Where he cuts his hair now is where my dad and I went for a little bit to get our haircuts by a different barber.
Oh, that used to be a shop? I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah, another barbershop.
Interesting. Nice.
So it's like right across from where it's like if you're going to Bottle Rock. It's like
Yep.
on the left hand
It's right there. Right by the train tracks.
Yeah, we went there. My dad and I went there for a few haircuts too.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Now his shop's nice. He's decorated it very well. He just got a bookshelf for kids to come read books and whatnot. So
Nice.
yeah.
Does he serve beer there?
He does have beers. Yep.
Do you ever have beers when you get your haircut?
I have not there, but I've accepted beers at plenty of his haircuts.
So it's not like a tap.
No.
Oh, okay.
He's just got like some bottled beers
Oh,
in the
gotcha.
fridge. Yeah.
Because I feel like if you had like a glass beer and you're getting your haircut, like you're gonna get some kind of strays in there.
Oh,
maybe.
yeah,
Like
right.
just the possibility of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Last thing I'm gonna say is today's my mom's 49th birthday.
And
That was easy.
49, huh?
49.
Bang,
feeling
bang, Niner game.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna. I knew as soon as I was shouting around that you were gonna say that. I knew it.
Oh,
49, feeling fine.
nice.
So I'm gonna take a shot for her.
Nice.
You don't have to join me.
I'm going to join
Okay.
you, actually.
I respect that.
As Danny would say, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, her birthday. It's I know she's not thrilled to be almost 50, but
Hey,
you can't control time.
another year older, another year wiser.
Yeah. I just turned 30. She's gonna be 50 soon. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So
Cheers, Ange.
Cheers, my mom. And with that being said, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll see you when we see you.
Peace.
Peace.